I didn't even notice how quiet my apartment had become until I realized his texts had stopped coming. That small ping of a message, the one I'd been waiting for, never arrived. My phone sat cold and lifeless in my hand, like the rest of me. It wasn't just silence, it was the weight of absence pressing down, of someone who had been everywhere in my life suddenly pulling back. I could feel it in the little things, the empty corner of the couch where he would have sprawled, the mug he always left half full, the way the sunlight hit the desk where his notebook used to lie. Everything screamed that he had disappeared, and I had no idea why. At first, I blamed myself. Had I been too eager? Too clingy? I had been careful, hadn't I? I had only checked in on him when he was sick, split the bill a few times when we went out, laughed at his jokes a little too hard, all those little hints I thought were harmless. I had wanted him to know he was special, that no one else mattered in those moments, but somehow, that had backfired. He had pulled away, and I felt like I had done something wrong without even knowing what it was. I tried not to think about it. I tried to keep busy, binge-watching shows, reading, scrolling endlessly, pretending his absence didn't sting like a living thing inside me. But every time my phone vibrated, my heart jumped, only to fall back down when it wasn't him. My friends noticed. They asked, gently, if something had happened between us, if I was upset. And I lied, I said nothing, that I was fine. How could I explain that the boy I had loved quietly, secretly, had vanished without a word, leaving me tangled in confusion and something heavier, something raw? The weeks stretched endlessly. Days blurred into one another, each punctuated by memories of him, the way he smiled when I did something silly, the way his eyes softened when he thought I wasn't watching, the way he always seemed to notice me even in a crowd. I found myself replaying every moment, analyzing every word, searching for the trigger that had made him pull away. I remembered that one night when I had laughed too loudly, or maybe the time I checked in on him with a simple text. I had wanted to show I cared. I had wanted him to see me. And somehow, that was exactly what scared him enough to run. I told myself to stop thinking about him. I told myself to let it go. But then came the knock. It was soft, hesitant, deliberate. At first, I froze. My heart lurched and skipped, a painful stutter I hadn't felt in days. My fingers trembled as they hovered over the door. I didn't know if I was ready, if I wanted to face him. But the knock repeated, firmer this time, patient but insistent. My chest tightened. I could hear my own heartbeat, rapid, unsteady. Part of me wanted to open the door and demand answers. Part of me wanted to run, to pretend I wasn't listening, that he wasn't there at all. And then I realized I had been waiting for him too. I stood there, my hand frozen on the doorknob, my mind spinning with 1,000 conflicting thoughts. Should I open it? Should I ignore it? The knock came again, slower this time, deliberate, like he was giving me the choice, but I already knew. Part of me had been waiting for this, aching for it without admitting it, even as my pride told me to stay hidden, to keep the door closed. Finally, I swung it open. He was standing there, tall, hands slightly tense at his sides, eyes fixed on mine with a mix of hope, guilt, and something softer I couldn't quite place at first. And then I noticed them, the subtle redness at the corners, the faint shadows beneath his eyes, like he hadn't slept, like he had been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. My chest tightened, a mix of relief and heartache so sudden it made me stumble back slightly. I know you don't want to talk, he started, his voice low, careful, almost pleading. But I need to. Please, let me in. I hesitated. The door hung between us, a thin barrier that suddenly felt like the entire world. Part of me wanted to slam it shut and walk away, to protect myself from whatever this conversation might bring. Part of me, the part that had been aching for him all week, wanted to throw myself at him, to demand answers, to hear the truth that had been buried in his distance. I finally stepped aside. Fine, I said softly, my voice shaking just enough that he noticed. He gave a small, relieved nod and stepped in, closing the door behind him. The apartment felt smaller suddenly, the air thick with tension and unspoken words. He didn't sit immediately. He stayed near the doorway for a moment, taking a breath, gathering himself like he was bracing for something monumental. I owe you an explanation, he said finally, voice tight but steady. I didn't mean to hurt you. I I pushed you away because I was scared. Scared of losing you, scared of myself, scared that if I let myself feel, I'd fail you. My chest tightened further. I wanted to argue, to deny it, to scream that he had hurt me anyway, but the raw honesty in his voice cut through all the walls I'd built over the past week. I had never heard him sound so vulnerable. I had never seen him admit that he feared me, that his distance wasn't about me being insufficient, but about him thinking he was. I don't know what to say, I whispered, my throat tight, my hands gripping the edge of the kitchen counter for support. You don't have to say anything yet, he replied softly, taking a small step closer. I need you to know that everything I did out of fear. Not because I didn't care. Not because I don't love you. Because I do. More than I can say. And I'm so sorry for making you feel the way you did. For the week you were hurting because of me. I swallowed hard, trying to process the mixture of relief, heartbreak, and the warmth slowly creeping back into my chest. My eyes stung, my lips trembled. I thought you didn't see me the way I saw you, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. He paused, looking down briefly, then back at me with those eyes I had memorized over countless late-night conversations, shared jokes, and quiet moments only we knew. I saw you, he said. I've always seen you. The way you care, the way you notice things, the way you make the world better just by being in it. I've been in love with you for so long, but I didn't think I was enough for you. I didn't want to risk us. But I can't hide it anymore. I want to be with you. The air between us seemed to shiver. I blinked, trying to hold back the tears that had been threatening for a week. And then, finally, I stepped forward, letting everything I had been holding in spill out in a rush of emotion. You're perfect for me, I whispered, and I told him everything, how I had seen him differently from the start, how his care, his thoughtfulness, the way he made me feel safe and seen, it had been unlike anyone else I'd ever met. You're nothing like the other guys. You make me feel understood, wanted, safe, loved. And I've been waiting for you to see it too. I stood there, my chest tight, my hands trembling slightly as I tried to steady my breathing. He took a careful step closer, and I noticed the slight hesitation in his posture, the fear that maybe I'd reject him, that maybe I'd slam the door and leave him standing there like he had left me these past days. I need you to understand, he began, his voice low but earnest, everything I did. I thought I was protecting you. I thought if I kept my distance, if I acted cold, I could spare you from the pain I've carried inside me for so long. I didn't want to mess things up between us. I was scared that I'd fail you, that I'd hurt you because I didn't feel good enough, because I've always felt like I fall short. I swallowed hard, trying to absorb each word, the sincerity radiating from him almost painfully. Every sentence, every pause, every glance told me how deeply he had struggled in silence. And all the time I had spent wondering if he even cared, he had been wrestling with the same thing, his fear, his insecurities, his love. I've been in love with you for months, he continued, voice cracking just slightly at the edges. I didn't want to admit it, even to myself, because I didn't think I deserved you. But I can't hide it anymore. You're everything I've wanted, everything I couldn't stop thinking about, and I can't imagine a world where you're not in it. Not like this, not at my side. I felt my heart ache in that moment, the truth in his words dissolving the knot of hurt I'd carried all week. I had known, somehow, that he cared, had sensed it in his small gestures, in the way he listened, in the moments when his eyes softened at my laughter or lingered on me longer than they should. But to hear it laid bare, to hear him admit he loved me, it made all the fear, all the distance, all the unspoken tension worth it. I don't know what to say, I whispered, my voice trembling. Say you'll let me make it right, he said softly, taking another step closer, his hand reaching out tentatively, unsure if I'd push him away or let him in. Let me show you that I see you, that I've always seen you. That I care in ways I didn't know how to say before. Please, let me take you on a date. Let me be the one to love you the way you deserve. I felt tears spill over, the week of hurt and confusion melting into a warmth that spread from my chest to my fingertips. My voice was raw but steady. You really think you're enough? I know I am, he said, with a small, hopeful smile. Because you make me want to be enough. You make me want to be better. And I can't lose this. I can't lose you. For a heartbeat, the world felt suspended. The tension, the silence, the hurt, all of it hung in the space between us. And then, without thinking, I stepped forward, wrapped my arms around him, pressing close as the tears I had held back flowed freely. "Don't ever do that again," I whispered into his chest. "Don't ever push me away like that. I'd love to go on a date with you." He held me tighter, relief and joy evident in his grip, his forehead resting against mine. "I won't," he promised, his voice full of certainty and softness. "Not ever again." And in that moment, all the walls, all the distance, all the fear that had separated us fell away. For the first time, we were free to feel, to love, and to be exactly what we had been quietly hoping for together. As we pulled slightly apart, still holding each other, I felt a rush of clarity, like the fog that had clouded my heart for the past week was finally lifting. I looked up at him, really looked, and I wanted him to understand, to truly understand, why none of his fears mattered to me. "You know," I began softly, my fingers brushing along his arm, all this time. "I saw you differently than you thought I did." His eyebrows lifted slightly, a flicker of curiosity and caution in his eyes. "I didn't see someone insufficient, someone who couldn't handle me. I saw someone perfect for me." He blinked, a little stunned, and I pressed on, my voice gaining warmth with every word. "From the moment we met, I noticed the little things. How you listen, really listen, when I talk, even about silly stuff. How you notice the things no one else does, like when my coffee cup is empty or when I've had a rough day. You don't just hear me, you understand me." I paused, letting him absorb it. "And you're different from other guys I've met. You don't try to impress with flashy gestures or empty words. You show you care through actions, through consistency. You make me feel safe, seen, and wanted in a way I didn't know I could feel with anyone else. You've always made me feel like I mattered, not just to you, but in the world around you." His gaze softened, a faint tremor in his lips as he listened, absorbing the words I had held in my chest for so long. I never thought you saw me that way," he admitted quietly, voice tinged with disbelief. I shook my head, smiling through the tears I hadn't noticed I was holding back. "I did. I do. And even when you pushed me away, I could feel it, your care, your attention, the little gestures that were always yours. Even when I was hurting, I knew you were different. That's why it was so hard not to chase you. That's why I held back, because I didn't want to fight against your fears. But I never stopped seeing you, really seeing you, for who you are." A faint laugh escaped him, quiet, relieved. "I never realized. I was wrong about so much. I thought I had to protect you from me, from my flaws, but maybe you were the one who was protecting me, without even knowing it." "Yes," I whispered, resting my forehead against his, feeling the warmth of his presence seep into me. "I saw you all along. And I fell for all of it, the way you care, the way you think, the way you make me feel like I belong. You're everything I could have wanted, and more." For the first time in what felt like forever, I saw him not through the lens of fear or doubt, but through the eyes of someone who truly knew him. The boy I had been quietly in love with, the one I had been waiting for, the one I had feared losing, he was right in front of me, and now he finally understood. I felt his hands tighten slightly around me as I leaned into him, the warmth of his chest grounding me in a way I hadn't realized I'd needed all week. The weight of the past days, the distance, the confusion, the quiet ache of wondering if he cared, seemed to melt away with every steady heartbeat against mine. I don't think I can ever let you go," he murmured, voice low but full of certainty. "Not now. Not ever. You're everything I've wanted, everything I didn't even know I was looking for. And I can't imagine a world where you're not here, where I'm not here with you." My chest tightened again, this time in pure emotion, and I buried my face into his shoulder, trying to hold back the tears that threatened to spill over. "Promise me you won't ever do that again," I whispered, my voice cracking. "Don't push me away, not like that. I can't handle it." "I promise," he said firmly, tilting my chin up gently so I could see his eyes, clear, open, and full of everything he had been holding back. I'll never push you away again. And I want to be with you. Properly. Date you. Love you the way you deserve. A soft laugh escaped me, part relief, part joy. I'd love that, I said, finally letting myself smile through the tears. Because you're perfect for me. You've always been. And I've been waiting for you to see it too. He smiled, a slow, genuine curve of his lips that lit up his entire face, and leaned forward. I didn't hesitate this time. I wrapped my arms around him, pressing close, letting the warmth of him, the honesty of him, fill every empty space inside me. It felt like coming home after being lost for far too long. For a long moment, we stayed like that, holding each other, letting the quiet settle around us. I felt the tension and fear and doubts dissolve into something new, certainty, safety, and the promise of love finally spoken aloud. You're my person, he whispered, voice soft against my hair. I can't believe I ever let fear get in the way of this. And you're mine, I replied, squeezing him tighter. Let's never let fear win again. We pulled back slightly, just enough to look into each other's eyes, and I saw it all reflected there: love, relief, joy, and the start of something beautiful. His hand found mine, fingers entwining naturally, a simple gesture that held more meaning than any grand declaration. Outside, the world continued, indifferent to the drama and pain we'd navigated. But inside, in that small apartment, we had found something timeless. A beginning, not a continuation of distance or fear, but a first step into a life we would face together, side by side, hearts unguarded, finally free to love.